The Atlanta Dream set the record for the biggest crowd to watch a WNBA game in Georgia history.
Pretty exciting. One of the big reasons fans flock to State Farm Arena is, of course, the Caitlin Clark effect.
Caitlin Clark tonight.
Oh, gotta watch number 22.
I've been watching Caitlin for a couple of years, and since then I've dreamed about coming to a game.
She's with just brought a lot to the WNBA and also to the game itself and for women, so women's sports.
You know what's crazy? While Caitlin Clark's games are breaking viewership records, Angel Reese's Chicago Sky is struggling to fill seats. Is it just about skill, or is there more to this attendance puzzle? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Recall that I mentioned that Clark is altering the game. She's packing it too, in addition to changing it. Attendance for the Fever is through the roof, and you won't believe how many more people are coming these days. Let's talk about the numbers, which are quite astounding. Attendance at the Indiana Fever increased by an astounding 37.8%. We are discussing 12,925 spectators on average every game. The previous season? Just over 4,000. That is over 3 times as many people. This is where things get really crazy though. In their usual arena, the Fever were unable to accommodate all of these new supporters. To accommodate everyone who wanted to watch Clark perform, they had to relocate to larger locations. It seems as though she has suddenly become a rock star and everyone is vying for front row seats. It's also more than a single or 2 games. In September, the Fever sold out 3 games in a single week. Tress, they drew 17,627 spectators on average for those games. That amounts to about 18,000 spectators for the women's basketball game. If you've ever attended a WNBA game, you are aware of the significance of this. But there's still more. Clark's influence extends beyond the Fever. The Clark impact is affecting the whole WNBA. Attendance across the league is up 48.2%. That's the 3rd highest attendance increase in the league's history, so it's not just a minor bounce. Consider that for a moment. One athlete who recently graduated from college is contributing to the attendance of nearly twice as many WNBA games overall. It's no longer limited to Indiana. Clark is improving the game as a whole. Is this normal for a rookie? Maybe on your mind. No is the succinct response. Not even near. Before, there have been overhyped rookies, but not like this. Not only is Clark exceeding expectations, but she is completely defying them and redefining the potential impact of a WNBA player. Recall that all of this is taking place during her debut season. We're not discussing a seasoned pro with a long list of admirers. This rookie is upending the WNBA from the very beginning, having just graduated from college. Let's now shift our focus to Angel Reese, another fantastic rookie. You would think that with all the hype around her joining the Chicago Sky, there would be comparable fireworks. But fasten your seatbelts, for what follows may completely upend your preconceived notions about numbers. Let's discuss the attendance of the Chicago Sky. Given all the excitement around Reese, you would assume the stadia would be full. Not quite though. This season, the Sky recorded a meager 1,470 rise in attendance. And that's it, a little over 1,000 additional spectators at the games. Granted, having more supporters is always a positive thing, but when you contrast that with what is occurring with other teams, well, it's not quite as amazing. Look at this. The Sparks from Los Angeles, the attendance has increased by 72%. The Dream of Atlanta, 66% rise. What about the Liberty of New York? At their games, they are seeing 62% more spectators. It appears as though these teams are celebrating, and the Sky is just kinda hanging around. This is where things become really fascinating though. In fact, the Chicago Sky's increase in attendance is less than that of 8 other teams in the league. 8th, that makes up almost half of the WNBA, and keep in mind that they have one of the most anticipated rookies, Angel Reese, on their squad. What is happening here then? Why is Reese failing to attract the same crowds as Clark? She certainly has the talent and the attention from the media. The truth is, though, that there are instances when the narrative we read or hear in the media differs from what is actually taking place in the arenas. Consider it, Angel Reese has been the subject of a lot of news. She has endorsements, is widely shared on social media, and is generating news. However, in terms of placing butts in seats, the data presents another picture. The shocking part is that despite everyone's attention being focused on Reese, Clark has been quietly, or not so quietly, revolutionizing the game. The numbers are real. Clark constantly attracts larger audiences and receives stronger ratings. She's surpassing the hype, not just living up to it. And to be clear though, this isn't a contest between Clark and Reese. They both have amazing futures ahead of them and are both excellent players. It's more important to comprehend how fans actually interact with the WNBA. The key is to see what's actually going on in the field by seeing behind the narratives presented by the media. Thus, while the figures are presented, they do not provide a whole picture. What if I told you that Caitlin-Clark's jump shot and assists aren't her only weapons? This isn't the only thing going on. Arenas are becoming Clark's private playground. Fans are going crazy about her seemingly magical touch, and it's not just about what occurs on the court. Let's dissect it. To begin with, Clark exudes an incredible charisma. She plays like it's a show rather than just a game. You want to observe every move she makes because of her unique style. She appears to be playing chess when everyone else is engaged in checkers. What about the supporters? They are constantly in need of it. The truth is though, Clark isn't working alone on this. The Fever in Indiana, they are astute cookies. Clark has been heavily promoted and it's paying off handsomely. They're offering an experience rather than just tickets. It seems as though they have deciphered a coded message pertaining to fan involvement, and other teams are undoubtedly cursing themselves for not discovering it earlier. And now let's briefly discuss media presence. There's Clark everywhere. You name it. TV, social media, etc. It seems as though she suddenly rose to fame as a basketball player. Additionally, more people desired to watch her perform live with each appearance on screen. There is a snowball effect that grows larger with each game. This is where things start to become pretty intriguing. The media frenzy, the Fever's promotions, and Clark's charm are all contributing factors. It resembles a perfect storm of enthusiastic fans. And what was the outcome? TV ratings through the roof, crowded arenas, and a lot of people talking about women's basketball. Know what's absurd? It's not only beneficial for Fever. This wave is being ridden by the whole WNBA. Recall the 48.2% rise in attendance from our previous discussion. That is not merely a small lump. That changes everything for the league as a whole. What can other teams take out from this then? Consider the Chicago Sky as a one instance. They have Angel Reese, who is amazing on her own. Perhaps nevertheless, they ought to borrow a strategy from the Fever. It takes more than just a standout player. The goal is to center the entire experience around them, ensuring that each game feels like a must-attend event. Imagine if all WNBA teams could do for Clark what the Fever are doing. We are discussing a revolution in fan interaction for the entire league. More spectators, more eyes on screens, and more people becoming enthralled with women's basketball. These days, it's not just about one player or one group. It's about taking the sport as a whole to new levels.